Not in this case. This one, the blade was actually blue and it was chased in gold. This one would probably make France.
All sorts of items find their way to the pawn shop. What's crazy is that some of these items are worth a fortune, and if Rick isn't careful, he could either lose big money or strike gold. Here are some of the most expensive sales ever made on Pawn Stars. A Babe Ruth baseball card walks into Rick's shop with the seller, hoping to get whatever his money's worth of the item is. Rick and his son pick up the card, and their reaction is just nothing short of priceless. Who knew this card had so much background history? I mean, even Rick is fascinated by the fact that he has a card that's this old. But then again, who knows if the card is the real deal or a fake?
Baseball cards like this were generally sold in cigarette packs. Back in the day, major stars used to endorse cigarettes. Now, this one, I find it a little weird that it's got... Do you have an idea what you wanted for it?
$65,000.
What? $65,000? This guy cannot be for real. That's a lot of money. There's no way Rick is going to consider that amount of money without having an expert take a look at the baseball card. That just made me absolutely speechless. With everything the experts are saying, that card might actually be worth a lot of money. I mean, it dates back to a really long time ago, and it served a very significant purpose, but he still has not confirmed if the item is real or fake.
The corners and the edges are actually quite nice. Out of the centering is almost dead on. What we're looking for is we need to analyze the paper stock and just overall feel and texture. Now, as far as value on this, nothing. Real card.
Ouch. And just like that, his dreams were shattered into a million pieces. This is why Rick does not joke around when it comes to making sure the items are not fake. Well, it's a sad day for this seller for sure. It is what it is. Jumping right to the next item on the list. The next item to find its way into the shop was a Federal period antique sword. The seller was pretty sure the sword was from some war that happened as far back as 1812.
What do we got? I've got a antique sword here that I think is from the war. Don't hear much about the War of 1812? No, why's that? Ass is kicked.
Talk about an item with a lot of history behind it. Now I want to get the sword for myself. Those inscriptions on the sword look scary though. If Rick were here, I'm sure he would want to have the sword for himself. Come to think of it, where is the expert? Aha! I was wondering when he was going to get an expert to check out the sword. Some parts of the sword were already looking like they had given up on life, and $5,000 is a lot of money to just give away.
The first thing that we look at on this, the eagle head on this one's badly dinged, but the handle here is correct. The corrosion is something that you'll want to deal with. Your scabbard is original, but in overall, what you have here is a model 1805 officer's sword.
Well, that definitely confirms that it's actually a French sword. Oh boy, was I scared the sword was actually going to be fake. Well, all that's left now is for the expert to put a price on this ancient item. Up next, this guy walked into the shop with what he believed to be a Pancho Villa marionette. Trust me, I am as confused as you are by the name. Corey went on to check out the item, and his reaction was priceless.
Hey, how you doing?
Pretty good.
I'm working the night shift with Olivia again, and it was pretty boring until we let this guy in. So what do you have here?
This is a marionette, and I believe and I've had it for 44 years.
Oh my goodness.
You mind if I take a look at it?
No, help yourself.
Well, it's not every day you see an item that reminds you of Robin Hood, but I'm not going to lie. That item looks funny as hell. I wouldn't even know what to do with it if I had it in my house. Do kids even play with things like this? I guess that is true. There's really nothing that says it's actually a Pancho Villa marionette. For all they know, it could be anyone, but it seems the seller is pretty sure of what he's trying to sell. So let's jump straight to the bargaining aspect.
How much do you want to sell it for?
44 years, and he should be
40 bucks on it?
70.
What's your bottom line?
$50.
50 bucks. What do you think, Olivia?
It's a nice round number.
Sold.
Now, this gentleman walks into the pawn shop with a 3-dog Knight keyboard, which was used by the most popular US group back in the day. Corey and his brother wasted no time in checking out the item.
So what do we got?
We're really used by 3-dog Knight in the studio.
You know Mama told you not to come in here.
Wow, he wrote the song for the band? Now, that's pretty cool. I mean, what other proof do you need to show you that the keyboard is not fake? But then again, there has to be more information about this keyboard. That thing sounds like it was used to put kids to sleep whenever they refuse to close their eyes. But you heard Corey, he isn't sure there are people willing to buy the piano if it is up for auction.
Give me an idea of what you want for it.
$1,500.
$100.
I have documentation.
Let me see here. This Portasound PA Dog Night, the recording of the signed by Danny Hutton of 3. You know, the letter's just not doing it for me. I need more details.
Man, this guy's going to have to do a lot more than show a letter if he hopes to get the amount he's asking for. I wonder what other piece of evidence he has to show that the item is legit. I mean, at this point, he might as well bring the artist who used the piano because Corey is not going to back down at all. Without checking all of Corey's boxes, this gentleman might as well go home with empty pockets.
So this is it, huh? Found PS3 electronic polyphonic portable was used by Three Dog Night. Here is the notary form.
Is that good enough proof for you?
Yeah, man, it's good.
Okay.
Remind me, what was the deal again?
5,000? less 1 0.
Okay. All right. Sounds good, man.
All right.
The next item on the list was stained glass windows, which were one of the very first used by wealthy Romans back in the day. Hearing that alone already sounds like a lot of money in the seller's pocket.
What do we have here?
A couple of Victorian-era stained glass windows that I inherited from...
First started coming into houses, stained glass was really expensive back then. So the owners of the house, vacation or something, they took all the windows down.
Oh, really?
I'm not even going to lie to you, these glass windows look so damn expensive. I wonder how she managed to keep them in such perfect condition. Like the old man said, this is an amazing work of art. To be honest, I was a little disappointed that the stained glass windows were sold for just $600. They looked like they would have been sold for more. I guess Rick knows best. Moving on to the next item on the list of insane items.
I'll give you $400 for both.
$400? Ooh, that's kind of low. How about $800 for the...
How about 5?
How about 7?
I'll tell you what, I'll go 600 and I will not go no more. 600 would be max.
You got a deal.
Okay, thanks.
This man walks into the pawn shop looking to sell a very unique and rare item. The item was his Pokemon card, and Chum, being a Pokemon fan, could not resist it. The moment he placed his hand on the card, you could tell that he wanted to have the item. If you're a Pokemon fan like Chum, you'd know that the card is quite unique. It's surprising that people really have items like this. I can't remember the last time I saw a Pokemon card. Believe me, it's been years.
I'm looking to sell my extremely rare Ghastly Error Pokemon cards. One of the rarest errors you're probably going. Both sides are printed on one side of the card, and the other side, something that definitely should have been caught in quality control. $4,000 for my Error Ghastly Pokemon card.
I don't know about that price. I mean, the card looks pretty rare and authentic, but $3,000 seems to be on the high side. If Chum buys the card, I won't even be surprised. He loves anything that has to do with Pokemon. But then again, let's hope that's not going to be an issue. Chum spots something about this particular Pokemon card and he wants to check properly to be sure that the card is not a fake. That would be bad news for the guy who brought it in.
And I mean, it does feel right. I played thousands of games of Pokemon and looked, so that is something I do know. Even though it's double printed, you can fully make out the... So I really, really like that. It's actually pretty cool you have this error. I've never seen...
The Pokemon guru has spoken. Chum seems to be interested in the card. Chum checks the card properly, and being that he knows a lot about Pokemon, he knows that this is a very cool and rare Pokemon card. Let's see how much he would want for the card. Well, you can't really blame Chum for wanting an expert to come check out the card. He might know a lot about Pokemon items, but Pokemon card going for $4,000 makes him a little skeptical, so he wants a friend of his to come check it out.
Yeah, you gotta be careful with some of these cards. These errors are worth a lot of money. There's every reason for people to... An XY Evolution printed in 2016. Ghastly, manufacturing at these printing facilities is very top-notch and security is really tight.
Impressive. The first thing the expert says is that the fact that the card avoided getting pulled out of production is a miracle survival because most cards always get pulled out. The guy who brought the card hears that, and you can see the smile on his face. I can't be the only one who heard those figures. These cards can sell for up to $100,000? Wow. If this particular card this dude brought in is authentic, he might actually go home with $4,000. But we'd let the expert and Chum be the judges of that.
The intricate details here are just, the corners look correct, the cut's correct, everything. Very happy to say that this card is unquestioned a true rarity right here.
I had no doubt, but it's good to hear you say.
What kind of value do you think this...
I mean, I'd probably be right around $3,000, I think.
That right is the only thing that the owner of the card cares about. The expert says that the Pokemon card checks out, and it's actually the real deal. Now we need to know its value. Is it really worth $4,000? Oh well. The expert's opinion is what Chum is going to go with. He says that the card should be valued around $3,000, which is just $1,000 short of what the owner wants to sell it for.
I think that's a little bit conservative, but I respect your opinion.
All right, well, his opinion is the one I have to live with, so I thank you for coming down and helping me out here.
Always my pleasure, Chum. Take care. Take care.
All right, well, he thinks it's worth about $3,000. I'd be a buyer at $2,000. What do you think?
I think $2,000 is a little low.
It looks like they finally agreed on a price. For a second there, I was scared that the seller was going to stick to $4,000. They both met at a middle ground, and the rare Pokemon card was sold for $2,500. Not bad.
What about 2,300?
If you could go to maybe 2,500.
It's a very unique error card, so I think I'm comfortable at 2,500.
That's awesome.
All right, well, I'll tell you what.
A certified copy of Saddam Hussein's fingerprints found its way into the shop, and believe me when I tell you, Rick and his son were more than surprised that this seller walked into the shop with something that valuable.
What do we have here?
These are a certified copy of the Saddam Hussein prints that were taken. The originals, there's 44 original certified.
These?
I was an FBI agent, so I was over there. The agent's a certified copy when they left.
Wow, it's not every day you get to have an FBI agent walk into the shop and give a tale like that. What he just said is enough reason for me to want to buy the item, trust me. But does Rick feel the same way? I'm not even going to argue with what he just said. Aside from the fact that this item is creepy as hell, who knows if it's even legal to own something like this. But once Rick likes an item, he is definitely going to buy it.
I've always thought the best buyer would be some...
I'll tell you what, I'll give you my best offer. I'll give you $1,500. We can make a deal there, otherwise it's just not going to happen.
I think if it was an auction and there was a war memorabilia, something like this.
For the first time, Rick has an item in his shop, and he has no idea what the price could be, and he has no expert to call to check out the item. Wow, this has to be one super rare item if you ask me. Oh well, I kind of had a feeling that was going to happen. Up next, this guy walked into the shop claiming to have an Olympic drug test pin. Items like this do not randomly find their way into the shop, and when Rick caught wind of this item, his reaction was just out of this world.
Hey, how can I help you?
Yeah, like to see about selling my urine pin.
Okay.
What? I can't even imagine that happening in the modern world of sports. A guy competing in a women's sport. Like Rick said, it sounds super strange, but it did happen back in the day. He went on to give further explanations, and I won't lie, it was all shades of disgusting to listen to. Why would any guy even want to compete in a female sport? Man, the old days of the Olympics must have been some weird times, because this is shocking to hear.
How much you want for it?
$500.
$500 seems like an awful lot. And because it's not from the... How's $100 sound?
That sounds a little light. It's super unique.
I'll give you $150.
I had to pee in a beaker in front of people.
150's it. It really is.
Okay, I'll do it.
Well, at least the seller is so disappointed with the price Rick paid for the item. I mean, the seller can't deny the fact that walking away with some change is better than absolutely nothing. Looks like the rest of the family is disappointed, or should I say surprised, that Rick spent over $150 purchasing such a weird item. The next item on the menu of items for sale was an actual Lamborghini Murciélago. Oh yes, you heard me right. This guy brought in a supercar for sale, and the moment Corey saw it, he could not keep his excitement to himself.
You said car, not supercar, man.
That's right, man. It's a Lamborghini Murciélago 2003.
Nice.
I just had a feeling this car was going to cost a fortune. I mean, he purchased the car for $111,000. You can bet this seller is not going to take anything below $100,000. I most definitely do not care how big I am. If I were to be in Corey's shoes, I would find a way to fit into that vehicle. I mean, it's a Lamborghini Murciélago for crying out loud. There are only a few of these in the world.
Driving a Lambo is a dream come true. Nice having big bosses.
Anything?
Oh, man, I learned we need to buy this car, man.
So, any questions, problems?
No. Like a dream. Engine runs great.
All right, buddy. Thanks a lot, man.
Isn't that hilarious? Even the expert who tests supercars for the shop is amazed by the fact that he just drove a Lamborghini Murciélago. Oh well, the car checks out fine. How much is Corey gonna pay for it?
So, what do you think they're worth?
In this condition, which is beautiful, it's on the condition of this car. In today's market, I'd have to put it maybe $90,000 would be my opinion.
Looks like getting the car to run was not enough. Corey had to get another expert to check it out once again and determine how much it's really worth. If we're being honest, $90,000 is not so much of a bad price if you ask me. Well, that is that about that. The next item that was up for sale was an antique duck press. Even I have no idea what a duck press is. When Chum wanted to check out the item, he was confused as hell. I guess there's a lot we don't know about the old days.
I'd like to sell this antique duck.
What's a duck press?
Roast a duck and it presses all of the... makes a wonderful sauce. It's a French delicacy.
Gross.
I don't know about you, but I'm definitely siding with Chum on this one. That is just painfully disgusting. I don't think I can look at a duck the same way ever again. That is definitely going to scar my eyesight for the next couple of days. Ha ha ha. Let's just say Chum is also not going to love eating ducks anymore. He is scared for life. Even his granddad knows it. But the antique duck press seems to have been around for a long-ass time. Oh well. The next item that found its way to the pawn shop will leave you speechless.
Have you got a price in mind?
Well, from the research I've done, I would like to get 9,000.
I would be a buyer around 15.
3,000.
No, can't do it. I'll probably market 3,000. 10 is the top of the line.
I'm gonna have to pass on that offer. Thank you much.
This lady right here walked into the shop holding old documents of the Pentagon from 1972 to early 1973. Believe me, the only expression on Rick's face was if the documents were even legal to acquire.
Hi, I have old documents from the Pentagon from 1972 to early 1973.
You weren't a spy or anything, were you?
No, not at all.
We shouldn't call Homeland Security or anything like that?
They just randomly sold these books at an auction? That's just crazy. If Rick buys these books, let's just pray the FBI or CIA don't come knocking on his door for possessing classified documents. That book has way too much information to just be loafing around, and that's very true. Yes, Rick is so right. These could just be random books where people just put down whatever they felt was correct about the Pentagon from back in the day. Getting to know if it's real or fake is going to be difficult.
If you look on almost every page, Lieutenant Colonel Morgan is written on each page. It's who we think these were given to.
As far as I know, you're not supposed to be taking volumes of paper from the Pentagon and bringing them home. I mean, I don't know if you're allowed to have them.
Well, you may have them if I'm not allowed.
Let me call someone down here and find out what the deal is with these, all right?
That would be great.
Once again, Rick is right. There's no way any random person could possess documents like this, and nobody is going to ask questions. Well, let's see what the expert has to say about these documents.
Are they rare and are they legal to own?
Okay, do you mind if I take a look at them?
Please do.
Okay.
Please do.
Okay, these are, in fact, daily report. They were put out by the Federal Broadcast Information Service. What these were for was to allow people who were interested within the Pentagon to know what was being said in foreign markets.
Now that brings a lot of relief into the picture. All this while, Rick felt the documents were either illegal to have, or they were probably a fake, but the expert said otherwise. Now let's get to the bargaining aspect. Who knows, maybe this guy might actually make a ton of money from the sale of this item. Fingers crossed, I guess.
So I take it you're not going to give me any money for these?
They're not rare, they're not collectible, and it's all public knowledge. I just wouldn't want to make an offer on them. I just don't see no money here at all. At least we found out a little bit about them.
Yes, thank you very much.
Have a nice day.
Thank you.
Up next, a guy walks into the shop holding a World War II Japanese air raid siren. I'm going to be very honest. I have only seen these things in the movies. When Rick saw the item, he could not believe his eyes. World War II was a very, very insane period. Believe me, there was a lot of chaos, and this air raid siren was mostly used by the Japanese to sound the alarm whenever danger was heading their way.
Do you mind if I crank it?
Go for it.
All right. Sorry, guys. One thing I love about it is that it displays really well. You know, you can actually...
As far as how well the World War II Japanese air raid siren works, I'd give it 100%. That thing is ridiculously loud. But come on, that's the purpose of the item, to yell out when there's danger. Oh well, we are just about done with the item. The next item on the list of rare items was a limited edition of Albert Einstein by the artist Halsman. Looking at the painting alone, you could tell it was not going to be sold for some cheap dollar.
It's a limited edition of Albert Einstein by the artist Halsman. Was the cover of Time magazine.
Einstein was a genius. I mean, he came up with relativity.
No Einstein.
And that's a fact, Rick. Albert Einstein was no ordinary scientist. He was literally the wizard of almost all the laws of physics. Having a portrait of him drawn by an amazing artist is something worth having in the collection. If you ask me, I would honestly say the painting looks like a very, very original piece of work. But of course, I'm no expert. Even forgers can duplicate the best of paintings, and you would never tell the difference.
Do you know much about the photographer?
Yeah, he's a Latvian-born, immigrated to this country. Actually, Albert Einstein himself helped get him to this country in 1940, right when the Germans were storming Europe. And it was here that he really became famous for his portraiture. He did almost every 20th century icon you can think of. He had some famous shots of Marilyn Monroe.
Well, that old man is about to be the happiest man on the planet. The expert came in and checked out the portrait, and to his belief, it's nothing short of the original painting by Halsman.
What do you realistically want for it?
I'll go 75. Is there enough in it for you at
There's
75?
There's nothing in it for me. I will give you $5,000. That is the most I can go.
I'll go 7.
I mean, I'll go 5. That's cash money.
I decided to separate. I can't come off in half.
Okay.
It's just too far.
I understand. Thanks for coming in, though.
I'm going to take it home.